So guys, the Fuji XT4 did end up dropping as they said it would on the night of February 25th, late early morning 26th. For me, I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so it came out on midnight the 26th. I did stay up for this and pre-ordered it at a B&H. I tried to look for a press release, anything around this announcement. I didn't find anything, nothing on Fuji's website, nothing on by searching Google, but it did pop up around 12:02 on the B&H site. So I went in and did a pre-order. I'll show you guys what I end up personally getting. I had a big choice between black or silver, and I like the look of the silver, but like previous times, I've always just gone with black, and I did that this time as well for a few different reasons. One is the durability. I've seen some used cameras. I take care of my gear, but I've seen a lot of used cameras with the silver that has gotten scratched, and underneath it it's black because it's plastic or whatever that material is, and they paint over it with that silver color. So if it was truly the metal, then I probably would get the silver, but it's usually a painted color on top of plastic, and when it scratches it shows black. But if your camera is black, you don't see those scratches. Again, I'm pretty good, easy on my gear, but that's one of the thoughts that I had. The second is the glare. I like the look, but it does look like it has a glare, and I don't like that. I don't like a sheen. If it was more of a matted finish, it probably still wouldn't get it, but it may intrigue me a little bit more. And the third and final reason that I went with black is it just doesn't stand out. I don't want somebody to notice me. I don't want me taking photos bring attention to me taking my photos. So that's why I went with black, and I think it just looks classic too. But I do like the look of the silver. So I do this every time I buy a camera if they have a color option. I want the silver, and then I end up buying the black. But there's a few different choices that you have. You can buy the body only for $16.99, and you can buy the Fujifilm 1855 millimeter and the X-T4 as a combo for $2,099. I did this when I bought my Fuji XT2. It's a great lens. If you guys don't have that lens, it's one of those must buys. But this time I chose to do a kit with the 1680 f4. And the reason being is the deal that you get, if you bought this lens by itself, it goes for $800. If you buy it with the camera body, the XT4, and they probably had this deal with the XT3 too, but if you bought it in a combo set, you get it for $500. It's $300 off. And I've been kind of contemplating on buying this lens anyway. One of my longtime YouTube followers on my channel, Enrique, keeps on telling me how great this lens is and how he recommends it. So Enrique, you're the reason I'm buying this lens. So it did bump up my overall spend. And if you guys watch my other videos, you know that I was hoping to spend around $15-ish on this camera. Now I'm going up into the 22 and plus. And the plus is the thing I'm going to talk about in a minute. And really one of the reasons that really set me off, and I almost did not pre-order this camera, and that has to do with it does not include a battery charger. You guys know how I get on my soapbox of these camera companies not including a battery charger, like Sony. Fuji's doing that stupid madness as well. I get if they're not including it on the lower end cameras, you're kind of saving cost and everything like that. But on your flagship camera, how do you not include a battery charger? And I get it's supposed to have some fast charging capabilities via USB-C, but for me, it's just not a supplement for a standalone dedicated charger for many, many different reasons. One of the reasons is the usability. I want to use my camera and charge a battery at the same time. You can't do that when it's in your camera. That's the main reason. Like if I go on vacation, I typically look at my camera, and on the XT2, I always had a battery in my pocket. But even that, I'd have one in my pocket, a full battery in my pocket, and a couple extra spares at the hotel. And when I get back to the hotel, before we go back out for dinner or something, if the battery was 50%, anything less than like 60%, I'm popping that out, putting it in the charger, putting a new fresh battery in, and a fresh one in my pocket. Now this camera's got a bigger, longer battery than the previous models of the XT, or really any Fuji camera, other than the GFX cameras. It might even be a little bit bigger than the GFX battery, but anyways, it's bigger than the previous XT series. So with this camera and the battery combo, I probably don't even need the spare, but I'm not going to leave the hotel or go out for the day knowing that I have one battery in the camera at like 40-50%. Now, I still want to be able to swap out with a fresh battery, put one in the charger, so when I come back, you can't do that unless you have a battery charger, a standalone battery charger. So what if you go out, you use two batteries, and you got to have a spare battery? That's another thing that bumped up my overall cost. Is I had to buy a spare battery for $70 because there are no secondary suppliers of that battery. But you go to bed at night. Okay, you have a drained battery, and then you have a drained battery in the camera. You plug in your camera, and you only have one battery in the morning, and then you have to switch it. It's just stupid, and it kind of pisses me off. And it's not about the $70 because that's what that battery charger costs. It does increase the overall cost. Now I'm paying $17.70 for this camera, but it's just a slap in the face, and it really ticked me off. And I almost, based out of principle alone, money was part of it, but principle alone, I almost did not pre-order. And I went and looked at it, and I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? So I didn't buy the battery charger yet, that is, because when I went and did this pre-order, I bought the camera, and then I realized, hey, I need a battery because I had ideas in my head without thinking really through it that I'd buy a secondary battery. I've always purchased the Wasabi batteries. They've never let me down, and I was going to do the same. And then I realized, hey, Wasabi, this is a new camera, a new battery. Wasabi's not going to make it. So I logged back in, and I purchased one battery. But the charger didn't show up at like 12:05. It is now, and I'm going to show you that charger in a second. But this is what I bought. It's the combo again. It's the 16 to 80, and sometimes I really love that 18 to 55 lens. It's a great lens in many different aspects. The size, the image stabilization, and everything is great. But often the 18 millimeter isn't wide enough, and the 55 millimeter isn't long enough, especially when I go on vacations and travel. And f4, it's not as fast as I'd like because that 18 to 55 on the wide side has an extra stop. It goes 2.8 to 4 on the longer setting. But with this, it's a straight f4, which has its advantages if you're doing video, but it's a straight f4. One stop, it's not going to make or break, but not having a lens that's wide enough or not long enough can matter. Plus, this lens is supposed to have great close focus distance, and I like taking some photographs up close. So I'm going to give this a shot, and I'll give you guys a review on it. Let's look at the specs. It's no surprise with the crazy announcement or leaking of the data on the Fuji rumor site. It's pretty much what we thought. One of the disappointing factors is we don't have that crazy high resolution screen, the flippy screen. We have a flippy screen. Unfortunate. It is a bump, especially for me with the XT2, but it's like that 1.6 million dot instead of the 2. I forget what the XT200 has. It's like 2.74 million dots. So I don't know why they're holding back. It could be for other factors. It could be durability. It could be weather, but most likely they're just probably holding back for another camera. And what camera could that be? And I just want to let you guys know, when I was looking at the rumor site, if you watch my other channel or my other videos in my channel, you'll see that I really didn't think Fuji is going to come out with another XH series camera. I thought it was going to be dead. Some of these influencers, YouTubers, have gotten pre-releases of the XT4. And with that pre-release, they've talked to people over at Fuji, and they're still talking, Fuji that is, they're still talking about coming out with an XH camera. So I was wrong, I admit it. I don't think they should, but I was wrong. It sounds like they're still developing the XH camera body. So you XH fans, I think you're going to get what you wish for, hopefully. Maybe Fuji takes a different kind of angle. They're putting that 6K, that rumored 6K video on that. That would be cool. It's not for me, but I did want to let you guys know that I am hearing rumors that the XH series line is not quite dead yet. So if you're a fan of the XH and you were going to pick up the XT4 because you thought it was going to be dead, especially based on my videos, wanted to let you guys know that we'll probably see one. Maybe not this year, but we'll see one in the near future here. So really, again, all the specs pretty much what we expected. They don't get into crazy detail because unless you got your hands on it and to see how these options or these specs actually work. One of the big differences is the flip between the menus and the settings between video and photography. A lot of people are boasting about that, a lot of the reviewers. And I think it's going to be a very, very good welcome, especially for me. I am going to try to be more of a hybrid shooter. I love taking photographs. I'm trying to get more into video, not because of YouTube or anything like that. It's just that when I look back on my family videos and photos, the videos have more memories. They have more meaning because it tells the whole story. I even did a quick capture of video and stills at one of my son's karate promotions. And the stills were great, but the video really told the full story, and it really it felt like I was there again because I'm watching the video. Photography, I'm going to kind of change what I'm doing, and I'll do a separate video on this. I'm going to start thinking if I'm not going to frame it, I'm not going to shoot it for photography wise, because I got all these pictures. Thousands and thousands of pictures that I hardly ever look at other than on a digital frame. So if it's worthy of printing, it's worthy of taking it. But anyways, we're going to do a separate video on that. I know I'm rambling on and going off into a different direction here. The 15 FPS, and yeah, I've seen the YouTubers in. It's got a cool shutter sound. So the shutter mech is changing. Not huge for me. I like the shutter sound of the XT2. I did hear that others have reported that they didn't like the sound of the XT3. I assume they were the same shutter, but they said they prefer the XT2 better. Now this XT4 shutter, it's faster. It's hard to hear the sound actually from the YouTube, but it sounds nice and clean. It's got a lower sound, which is good if you're shooting any kind of event. So that's nice to see. The other question is 15 frames per second. And I haven't seen a video yet that really did a test. I know, what is it, Maven? I forget his name, but he does a lot of good test on autofocus in burst mode. So it can take 15 frames a second, but if they're out of focus and unusable, what's the point? Hopefully it works out, but we'll see when people actually start putting it through its paces. And one of the big items that people are going to really get upset about, I think, not me, I'm not using it this way, is the 30-minute recording limit. I don't know why, Fuji. Why would you do that? Why would you handicap your camera and limit to 30 minutes? Now, it's not a big deal for me, but it is for a lot of folks out there that you might be wanting to shoot a wedding, a long event. If you're trying to capture a full event, for example, say you're doing a bar mitzvah, a communion, and you might be doing a one-man band as far as a videographer, and you might want to set this Fuji XT4 or any camera up and capture the whole thing, and then you could go mobile and take it a couple different angles and piece it all together. And if you have a big SD card and it doesn't have a limit, which there's no cap on fines, not fines, but there was something about the import tax or something where it would be called a video camera, but that's supposedly has lifted. I know Sony took the limit off all their cameras a little while back. I don't know why Fuji continues to do that. So it's a little bit unfortunate, and maybe they are teeing up that XH series. Maybe they're going to make that a total video camera. They're going to put the 2 point whatever million dot screen, flippy screen, and they're going to put an unlimited recording and put 6K in. Maybe they're holding back just to set up the XH series. I don't know. Again, it's not huge for me, but it's going to piss off a lot of people. The mic jack, I know it's got one, but the headphone jack they got rid of. No, not a big deal for me. I never, hardly ever, when I say hardly ever, hardly ever, will monitor my audio when I'm doing the recording. I usually find out later and say, oh, that sucks. But I usually don't do it while I'm recording. But if you really do want to do it, you have supposedly in the box is a not micro, but a USB-C to a headphone jack, so you can still do your monitoring. You just can't plug a standard headphone. You have to use the little dongle first. Let's go on here. The phase detection. Again, a lot of these things were already posted on. Pretty much all of them were posted on the Fuji rumor site. So that's pretty much it. I'm not going to go into too many details about this. You've already seen all this stuff. Let's look at the battery charger. So let me look over here. Let's go to Fuji XT battery charger. Well, first of all, my total out of the pocket right now is what was it? 20, almost $2,700 or $2,300. Sorry. And then I seen this battery charger the morning after, and this battery charger is $70. It's a dual battery charger. Couple issues with this. Well, at least my initial response was this thing is a freaking brick. And look at it, right? Let me show you the pictures. It looks just huge. It looks like a big blocky brick. And my first response was, why couldn't they make it half as high or smaller? So most often when I want to take this charger, I want to take it on vacation with me, and I didn't want to fill my bag. But when I actually looked at the specs of this earlier today, it's actually pretty small. It looks big on this photo, and it's tough without having it in your hand. But when I look at the overall specs, it's 2.4 inches, 3 inches by 1.5 inches. So it should be pretty small in the actual size. I think it just seems big because of the way the photo is taken. So again, my initial response was, what the hell? It's huge. And then I'm like looking at the specs saying, maybe it's not so huge. But one thing that I think it's a total form factor design flaw is the USB connection. I'm assuming that's where you're going to plug it in. Who puts the cord on the front of anything, any appliance? It's like having a toaster and you putting the damn cord on the front. Why would you do that? And maybe they did that because they figured people want it just to pull it out of a drawer and plug it in. But the folks like me that a little bit OCD, you're going to want to plug it in, put it on your desk, turn it around so your cords are hidden, right? So the Fujifilm name is going to be backwards. That's going to be like driving me nuts. So I don't know how I'm going to cope with that. So I know that's a personal problem, but hopefully, and I doubt it, but hopefully they actually have one of these in the back. They don't have a picture, but again, I know I'm a little bit OCD and a little bit freaky with that, but I don't like that in the front. I'd rather have it in the back, and it would just have a cleaner look. And then again, the $70. It's like, I don't care about the dual charger. I know some people do. Make the dual charger $70 and give us a cheap one battery charger included. That would have been cool, but no, Fuji couldn't do that. So that's my big gripe, guys. And it was the reason that I almost did not pre-order this camera. Part because of the money. I just felt now that $1,700 camera is almost $1,800 because for me, I got to have the battery charger. But most importantly is the principle. It just ticks me off. They're milking us. They're just trying to, becoming the new norm. So the XT4 is made in China, so we are going to see a bit of a delay before we receive it here in the United States. The last estimate I seen was end of April, but with everything going on in China, with the plants manufacturing being halted, if not slowed way down, even shipping and couriers, we probably won't see this until spring. For me anyway, spring, May, maybe even later. I'm not holding my breath, but it does give me a little bit more time to save some more money because this purchase is larger than I planned. I was hoping like a $1,500-$1,600 camera. Now with adding that lens, the charger, the battery, I'm probably looking at $2,500. Not to mention my Capture One software. I'll probably have to renew it or upgrade, or just use Lightroom for a while because I do have a membership of Lightroom. That's what sucks too. You buy a new camera, and then in order for you to use the camera software, unless you have a subscription based, you have to fork out money there as well. So that's what I did, guys. I purchased that and probably will buy this charger as well. I'd love to know what you guys, did you buy anything? If you did, what did you get? And are you kind of excited? Or are you kind of let down? I'm pretty excited other than this damn battery charger. I know it's $70. It just, again, pissed me off. So I'd love to hear what you think about the battery charger too. So since that's my soapbox for the day. Thanks for watching. You guys take care.